You're listening live to the Angel Rock. You were listening to the Centralist, and then my partner in crime that I live with, the Dell, was on with the delicious recipe with Michael Angley. So you're listening to me, Lorilei Potvin, your host for the Angel Rock, like I said, on 107.7 in New Orleans, Louisiana. And better yet, come on over to YouTube because we're having a bit of a party tonight. It's kind of a hodgepodge. I didn't book anybody. I kind of had a potential guest, and I said, you know what? I haven't done this in a long time, just little old me. I used to do this every night, Monday through Friday on my other network I was on. I thought, hey, we can handle 2 hours together. So there's a few things I had planned for tonight. But like I said, if you can, come on over and join us over in the United Public Radio Network YouTube channel, our regular channel. The chat's there. I'm going to keep an eye on that because I have a few things planned. But first of all, if you've never joined me before, welcome. My show, The Angel Rock, I say, covers all aspects of the paranormal. So that means anything not within the mainstream. I'm a psychic medium. I'm from Canada. I'm also a crystal Reiki energy healer and Akashic Records practitioner. I'm also a registered nurse. So I cover all aspects, like I said, of the paranormal. So it always ends with a positive twist. When I have guests on, the show is always about my guests. And I like to have people that are doing regular, everyday things as a regular person, not necessarily a celebrity, but the work that they're doing or what they're doing even say after their regular job, they're making a positive change for humanity out there. And those are the kind of people you'll see on my show. But tonight, like I said, it's just me. We got a lot going on in the world. I've been seeing this. We've talked about it. There's a lot of hatred, a lot of anger, a lot of fear. I've never seen people so divided, and it's a sad thing. You've probably heard me many times if you've heard me listen to the show before, that everything on this planet is energy. Your words, your thoughts, your emotions. And there was even something interesting somebody had brought up with me recently. And I've mentioned it before on this show, but as a human being, depending on who you speak to, we're at least 75 to 80% water, right? Now you think about that. Where do we get our water that we drink? Yes, lots of people drink bottled water that can even hold things collectively, energetically. But where our water source comes from, the water can hold energy. And that's been proven scientifically. There's a Japanese scientist out there. I can't remember what his name is at the top of my head. But he's even proven where he's done scientific research where he's had a big jug of water over here, another one over here taken from the same source. But he had people that went by the one, say on the left, and send love to it. You know, send positive words, encouragement, really high vibrational type of words, if you will, even thoughts. And then on the right-hand side, you had people go by the water and say, I hate you, you're disgusting, really low vibrational things. And then he looked at them molecularly, and there was a massive, massive difference. The high vibe specimen, if you will, under a microscope made these beautiful geometric crystalline patterns. The other water was just murky, disorganized. It really, there was no comparison. My point here is, what's going on collectively in the world here, energetically. And when we talk about low vibe, again, we're talking about anger, fear, anxiety, hatred, arguing, fighting. That's getting into our water source. So not only are we kind of being bombarded it through the ethers, if you will, we're also drinking it. So, you know, I work quite closely with spirit. I'm really clairaudient. So no, I don't hear voices, but I do hear spirit a lot throughout the day. And I've been talking about doing this for a while. So I thought tonight what we're going to start out with, I'm going to teach you guys how to create your own meditation space. Meditation is a great thing. It's not just for quote unquote light workers like myself. You'll hear big CEOs that are really successful to big companies. You'll hear about pro athletes. Many people meditate. And when you do, apparently 15 minutes of meditation is akin to at least an hour to an hour and 45 minutes of just rest, like sleeping. So if you're a little short on sleep, you can always do a quick meditation and sort of get caught up, if you will. But one of the things I find with people is, and myself included in the beginning, meditation, I didn't have time. Every time I tried to sit quietly and quiet my mind, I thoughts would be racing, popping in, and I'd have a really hard time getting into that space. So I'm going to guide you through this little process. I'm going to help you create your own space. And then once you have that space, I've had people get back to me. I've done this before because I also do a lot of mentoring. And once you have that space, and we create it so that it's safe. And I'm hoping the way I like to teach people when I'm especially mentoring people with, with this type of stuff, is to walk you through something that will work for you. So after the show is over, you can always listen to the archive or anywhere where there's talk radio or podcasts. This YouTube video will also be up on our YouTube channel. But say you're sitting there quietly and you decide you're going to do this meditation or try it on your own. I don't want you to sit there and think, what did she say? What step was that? What do I have to do? So I tend to like to guide people for you to kind of use what works best for you, like I said. So before we get started, there's a few things I'm also going to share with you. I always give credit where credit is due. There's a good friend of mine, Augie Nost. He's been on the show quite a few times. He's also a podcaster, has his own show. He also has the mastermind that meets on Sundays. I've talked to you guys about that before many times on this show. When he's been on here, he had a really, really great hint. This was about a year ago. For people that have a hard time with that mind chatter, when you're starting to sit quietly, slow down, trying to meditate, he says one of the things you can do when your eyes are closed, you're almost going to unfocus your eyes, if you will, almost cross them, not to the point of discomfort, but say, now again, I'm showing my age, but back quite a few years ago, there were those pictures that looked like a bunch of squiggly lines, and you almost had to just stare at the photo and unfocus your eyes to be able to see what was hidden in the pattern. It's kind of the same thing. And the reason why he says it works, and I've also had people get back to me and say it does work for them, to be able to kind of work on unfocus, sort of almost crossing your eyes. You almost meet at the midline where your brain is, and it seems to stop the chatter for some reason. So before we get started, though, I do want to check in our YouTube channel. I like to keep an eye on there. We usually have regular people that are watching. So we've got 5 out there. We've got Zachman. Something else I want to remind you guys, Zachman has done this. We have a subscription, if you will, type of service with YouTube, and we like to call it our premium service. So it's a purchase type of subscription, but when you do that, you're able to get extra perks that other people aren't. So there's almost, I believe, between 40 and 50 hosts on this network. I'm guilty. I haven't done this yet, but we're going to be, all of us, providing extra content for premium subscribers like Zach Chat. He's one of our regular supporters of our network, as well as usually shows up for most of my shows and other shows, and we really appreciate his support. So if you want to check that out, again, just head over to United Public Radio Network's YouTube channel. Right there, when you go to the main page, it'll give you all the information on how to sign up. So I want to welcome who's ever in the chat and whoever's listening live on our many other options that we have out there. Zachman says, good evening, Lorilei. Hope you and Del had a wonderful Christmas. Yes, we did. It was quiet, but it was good. I think if you were listening to the show before, you heard us up here in Ontario, in Canada. We are locked down in Ontario back to what it was like in March. We're in Northern Ontario, so it's only supposed to be for 14 days. I'll believe it when I see it. Michelle DeRoche and Amelia Pisano, who are on Wednesday and Thursday nights here on this network, they're down in Southern Ontario, and it's supposed to be 28 days. So I'm trying to keep this a little bit more high vibe because it gets me a little worked up talking about some of these politics, and we might get to that a little bit later in the show. So just going to read also what Zach says. Always good to support the network and all the wonderful hosts. Yes, and thank you, Zachman. We appreciate that. So the other thing I thought after we do this meditation is, I know you guys won't be able to see it, but I'm a little bit of a oracle card junkie. I have over 70 decks, and I brought them here. I don't need them. But when we're doing things like I'm hoping we can do tonight, if you're listening and you want to call in, or you have a question and you want to ask something of spirit, please head over to the YouTube channel, because I'm watching that. You'll be able to see the show, and I'll be able to see your question, because being a psychic medium, I like to do this. Sometimes I go live on Facebook as well when I have say an hour or two, and I will do free one question I guess, one question messages, if you will, if you need some guidance from spirit. And I'll do that from time to time. So that's what I'm hoping to do tonight. So I thought with a lot of people, with all the uncertainty out there, the one thing that may help is to get some positivity or some guidance from spirit. So that's the next thing I'm hoping to do. And then we'll see where the conversation leads us. So let me grab a quick drink here. And then what I'm going to do is, excuse me, I've got my Christmas sweater on. Speaking of Christmas, I'm going to turn the camera off. It's a little easier for me to concentrate because I'm going to get you guys to close your eyes. And then I'm just basically going to channel this from spirit. I have no idea where it's going to go. I do have an idea in the way of helping you to craft the room that I'm going to help you create. And before I go a little bit further with that as well, this room I'm going to help you create, that the way I structure it is you'll basically be able to move downwards, if you will. You'll understand when we go through it and sort of open the doors, and you'll be in that room, that safe space we're going to create tonight. And it helps to get into a little bit better frame of mind, or a little bit quicker space, if you will, when you meditate. Other things that just came to mind that I want to remind you is you don't need to meditate for hours and hours on end. And it's all cumulative. So on days that I have a really busy day, sometimes I might be, only able to squeeze in 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there, but it all adds up throughout the day. And so if you can get into that space pretty quickly, then you can kind of get down to business, because you can do all kinds of things in meditation. If you've got some questions, we all have guides, we all have angels, we all have ascended masters, and they're here to help us on this earth. So that's a place to go with a question. Like I've said this before on this show, but spirit will even agree to hold classes with you. If you need some answers, you need some direction, the more that you practice it, the easier it gets. There's also many different types of meditation, and I strongly encourage you to try them out or mix it up a bit. But some of the things, YouTube's a great source. They have binaural beats. There's ones that are guided meditations. There's other ones. And when I'm talking about binaural beats, before I move on with that, is you have to wear headphones with it. But there are specially tuned tones, depending on what you're hoping to access in the brain, that will help sort of attune your brain. So for example, say you need some healing, or you've got a headache, you can turn on a meditation. You would just look up binaural beat meditation for headache cure, say, for example, on YouTube. Whole bunch will come up. You can plug it in. You don't need to have it on very loud, but with the headphones, it really helps direct that tone, if you will. And it might just be some very light music. You can use that for just about anything. There's those type of meditations for anything possible. You're stressed, you're in pain, you can't sleep, you're sick, even illnesses. There's some in there that are attuned for certain illnesses to help improve some of the symptoms. It's not going to heal you, but it will certainly help if you've got something that's really troublesome. You're really worried, you're not able to relax, you're feeling anxious. There's another couple I can think off the top of my head. There's one called Soma breathing. If you look that up, you can Google it. It's actually really cool. You have somebody do it live with you. There's a whole bunch of people. I think it's on Sundays usually. And they get you to go through this type of breathing exercise. And believe me, powerful types of things. So there's all kinds of things. Check it out. I don't know why I'm hearing spirit say that I need to mention this. A lot of people always ask, how do I meet my spirit guides? Lots of meditations like that on there that'll help you meet spirit guides, help you connect with them. Maybe you want to open your third eye. That's something I hear a lot from people that are just sort of going down this etheric sort of spirituality type world. Lots of things that'll help you with that. Clear your chakras. If you're not aware of what chakras are, we all have these invisible, if you will, energy centers that run through the core of our body and right down below our feet and way up above our head. They're also discovering their chakras in your hands, in your ears, and they're discovering more and more of these. But you like to keep these clear. And we're almost going back to Eastern medicine now, but the human body is meant to run energy, if you will. And if you know anything about Eastern medicine, if you've ever had acupuncture, anything like that, they like to call the energy lines that run through the body chi or ki. So what they say, the reason, say, for example, acupuncture helps is when we're in a state of good health, we don't have any dis-ease, if you will, or disease. Energy runs completely through the body, right down, if you will, right into the ground, and sort of runs through our crown chakra all the way through. But when we have problems, say you've got a health issue, or say you've got chronic pain, the Chinese have always likened that to that there's a blockage in the ki or the energy lines, and that's what the acupuncture helps, is to sort of relieve that blockage. It's kind of the same things with chakras. They're meant to be kept healthy, and they spin. They're different colors, and depending on what you're running into during your life, or you've got issues, or again, disease, some of them don't spin as well as the other. And believe it or not, every one of the chakras is actually connected to a different part of life, if you will. So, for example, your middle chakra, which is here, it's yellow, that one is sort of like the executive decision type of the master, if you will. That's where we get a lot of, when we're making decisions about who we are. The throat chakra, which is located right here, say you're kind of shy, you hate public speaking, you're nervous around a lot of people, you're nervous to speak your truth. That might be something that needs a little bit of help and a little bit of work, and so on and so forth. That's actually what I do with crystal Reiki as well. It's kind of hard to picture, but that's what the bulk of the work is about. We go through the body. You don't need to be in front of me. And I'm actually able to check all your chakras after talking to you to see sort of what's going on in life. And even before we start, after you've told me maybe why you've come to see me, or you've got something going on, I pretty well know beyond a shadow of a doubt, and then we can confirm it. I use something called a pendulum to check that. Say you're having trouble meeting the love of your life, or you're having trouble with money, or that'll usually show up in your chakras as well. So part of what crystal Reiki is I help you balance those. We use specific Reiki symbols, and depending on whether the chakra maybe is underactive or overactive, or it could be avoiding as well, I will use various crystals and crystal points. I also use, it sounds like I'm a witch, I'm not, but I use a crystal wand, which will help direct energy. And then actually at the end of that session, what I end up doing is I check your aura. And again, that sounds really woo-woo. And I always liken it to the fact, and I wish I could remember for the life of me what show this is from. I always say this when I mention this example, but it'll make sense. It was a TV show where one guy was standing there. There was another guy he didn't know very well, and the other guy was right up in his face. And he says, dude, personal space, that is your aura. So think about this. You've been out somewhere. Someone you don't know very well gets really close to you. And what do we all do without even thinking about it? We back up, because it feels uncomfortable. That person's in your personal space. And depending on how well you know the person, say if it's your partner or your wife or husband or girlfriend or family, even certain various family members, you're more comfortable allowing people more into your personal space or aura than, say, strangers. So again, that's what the aura is. So at the end of the session, I actually check your aura and see, because through things that we encounter in life, especially around our joints and stuff, you can get actually cracks in the aura, if you will. So I'll help you seal that. I help you ground your energy. It's quite a session. It usually takes about an hour. The first one about an hour and a half. And I'll just let you know this. I did this for a friend of mine that was going through something probably about 6 months ago. I did not know this about him. But as I was checking, I said to him, are you having like some pain or something in your right ankle? And he went, oh my gosh. He goes, I was in a motorcycle accident like 12, 15 years ago and completely wrecked my ankle. So yes, it's been bothering me lately. Like, how would you know that? Like, nobody knows that about me. And I said, well, it showed up in your aura, believe it or not. And again, I use a pendulum for distance work. So it's pretty cool. One of these days, I'm going to make a video and have people watch a whole session, see how it works. And you can clear a lot of things that way, actually. So I'm going to go back through the reason why I was chit-chatting. We got a few more people in the chat room, and I was hoping we would before we started the meditation. We've got the Hitman Blog Talk, which is Howie from the Rift Network. Welcome, Howie. Merry Christmas to you and Kat and everybody at the Rift Network. He says waves. And then Zachman said, I have a question. The guy that hand rolls most of my cigars gives me a new blend. Oh, sorry, gave me a new blend he made. I haven't got my glasses on. Sorry, Zach. He said, it is the blend I've been looking for to start up my own line. Should I start up my own cigar line in 2021? We're going to get to that, Zach. We're going to do that meditation first because we've got quite a few people, as I understand it. Joe, our wonderful Joe Montaldo, who owns UPRN. He has his own shows and he also produces all of us. He makes my job easy. I just get to sit here and talk. He does all the hard work. So thanks, Joe. Anyways, I want to say hi to Shady D as well. She says, good evening and Happy New Year, everyone. Yes, Happy New Year. I also should say, as I started talking, I hope everybody's had a really Merry Christmas and really happy one. You know what? Like I said, with everything going on, that's the reason why Spirit asked me to do this meditation. So now that we got a few more people in the chat, that's what we're going to start with right now. So I'm going to turn my camera off. And this is just something I know, I have an idea where it's going, but we're going to let Spirit kind of guide us with this and see where we're going. We're going to help you guys create your own safe space, how you can get into a meditative space pretty quickly. If you're just joining us late, we talked quite a bit about that right at the beginning of the show. So I'm not going anywhere. I'm just going to turn off my camera. So what I invite you to do if you're going to participate, and if this is something maybe you're not comfortable with, we're not going to be doing this for hours. This is actually a quick meditation we're going to do. Please hang in there because we've got lots to come. And like I said, maybe you've got some questions for Spirit that you'd like to ask. So if you do and you're just joining us, please head over to the United Public Radio Network YouTube channel. I'm keeping an eye on it. That's where the chat is. You can watch the show and I'll be able to see your questions there. So I want you to get comfortable. Excuse me, you don't need to be sitting with your knees crossed and your back straight. Some people say that. I prefer for myself and most people when I guide them through something like this is to get comfortable. So I'll give you a few minutes to just get kind of really comfy. You know, maybe you want to lay down a little bit. Maybe you want some pillows behind you, whatever that may be. I'll give you just a second. And then what we're going to do is we're going to practice a little bit of deep breathing, whatever that may be in life, stress, pain, trying to get into a meditative state. Deep breathing is the key to it all, even anxiety. So what I want you to do, I'm going to explain this. We're going to take a deep breath in through our nose to the count of 1, 2, 3. Then we're going to hold it for 2 seconds and we're going to exhale to the count of 4. Okay, so we're going to go in, 1, 2, 3, hold, and then breathe out, 1, 2, 3, 4. You don't need to count. I'm just doing that for you so you have an idea how long. So one more, we're going to breathe in, and then exhale. Do one more. You're going to breathe in through your nose. You're going to hold it. And then exhale. As you're laying there, I'm going to walk you through this quickly, but I want you to focus on relaxing. So I'm going to start at your toes. So you're going to relax your toes, your feet, your ankles, your shins, working up to your knees. Focus on relaxing them. If you need to keep deep breathing while I'm talking, please do so. Then we're going to go further up the body. You're going to relax your thighs, your hips, your lower back, your midsection, your upper chest, your shoulders. You go down your arms, relaxing them, your biceps. Then you're going to relax your elbows, your wrists, and then finally all your fingers. Also want you now to move up to where your shoulders are again. Want you to focus on relaxing your neck. And finally, you're going to relax your head. And if you have to, even, turning your head from side to side gently to relax it. Then we're going to take one more deep breath in, hold it, and release. So breathe in, and then breathe out. So if you haven't closed your eyes yet, please close your eyes. And what I'd like you to picture in your mind's eye, so you can feel it, you can imagine it, whatever works for you. If you're not able to imagine, some people aren't, just try and even pull into memory something like a picture that you've seen, because where we're going to walk down to a doorway. So picture a doorway. That doorway could be an elevator, might be a doorway to the stairs, whatever you want this doorway to be. So we're going to open the doorway, and if it's a stairwell, you're going to sort of step over the threshold to the stairwell. I'm going to use an elevator, but you use whatever works for you, okay? And what we're going to do is we've stepped into the elevator, the doors are going to close behind us. The elevator is going to slowly descend downwards. And I will still want you to keep deep breathing, just whatever's comfortable. Deep breath in, breath out. And we're going to keep going down, down, down. When you feel like you've gone far enough down, whether it's down the stairs, maybe you see a doorway at the end of those stairs, or maybe the elevator is starting to slow down, and because that's what I'm going to use for this example, and the doors are going to open. When these doors open, we're going to see a path. Now, along this path, it could maybe be a path to the beach. You could be in the mountains. Maybe you're in a forest. Whatever place gives you the most peace that you enjoy being at, I want you to picture that around you. And if you're not able to picture it, then try and feel it or sense it, or even call to memory, a picture of something you've seen, that when you see it and it's outside, whatever that picture may be, I want you to picture it, because you're going to be walking along a path in this scene from nature. As you're walking along the path, you start to see a clearing. And in that clearing, you're going to walk right up to it. And I want you to picture, maybe it's a house, maybe it's a cave. It could be anything your mind imagines, because we're going to design this space. This is going to be your safe space, where you go whenever you jump in, backing up to a meditation, whether you're going down an elevator or you're going down to the stairs. What it's going to do is, this is how you're going to be able to get into the space very quickly. So I'm going to use a house for an example, and I want you to create accordingly. I will try and pull in pieces from other things to remind you, just so you don't feel left out, if maybe you're in a cave or it's a beach house or whatever it may be. What I'm picturing right now is a forest. So we're in the middle of a forest. I found this little shed. There's nobody around. I open the door and I go in. And it's one of the most beautiful little sheds I've ever seen, but it needs a little bit to make it my own personal space. Number one thing is, I want it to feel safe. So as you're listening, in your mind's eye, what do you need to make this space safe? Do you maybe need to picture a fence around it, a lock on the door? If you're in a forest, maybe this house is completely hidden because the trees have grown all around it, or could be flowers, could be if you're on the beach. Maybe this is a rock cave. You can hear the ocean waves lapping around you. Nobody can see this space. Nobody knows about this space except you. This is your own personal, wonderful, safe space. So when you're in there, what do you need? Like, maybe you need a beautiful chair to sit on. Maybe it's a bed instead when you visit here. Make it a throne if you want. Nobody's going to see this space except you. Maybe you feel like a king or a queen in there, so make it a throne. Maybe any kind of bed, maybe you've always wanted. Maybe that's what you want in there. Maybe you want a fireplace. Maybe anything that you haven't been able to have in real life here. You can make this into whatever you want, whatever colors you want, whatever you would like, because this is your personal safe space. Now, once you're in there, this is going to be a place for you as well if you want to connect with spirit or your spirit guides, or maybe you've got some questions that you need clarity on, such as Zach asking us in YouTube, and we're going to answer that after this, but wondering if he should start his cigar business. This is a place you can take these kind of questions. You can mull them over. You can ask for guidance, expect that guidance, or even if it doesn't come to you in this space, trust and know that spirit will leave you signs or they'll leave you answers when we come out of the safe space. So once I'm going to leave this to you, this is just the beginnings. And if you have to listen to this a few times, that's okay too, so that you can create it. Or if you're able to recall it to memory after this, and you're going back to the safe space, keep on creating, adding little things to really make it your own space. Whatever colors make you feel peaceful. Maybe you can smell something. Maybe it's a campfire. Maybe it's the ocean air. What do you hear around you? Maybe there's all kinds of nature. Maybe it's water. Maybe you don't hear anything. Maybe you just need that peace and quiet. But what we're going to do now is we're going to walk out the doorway and we're going to go further along the path, because I'm going to help you guide your way to meet somebody along this path. Now, they don't know where your secret space is because we've set that intention. So we're going to take a walk further down the path. Now, whether that's along the beach or it's in the forest, wherever it may be in your mind's eye. And as you're walking, you keep walking and walking. And we're going to set the intention that you're going to meet somebody from your spirit guide team. Could be an angel, could be ascended master. It could be some really strange looking creature that you've never seen. It could be an extraterrestrial. It could be anybody. I don't want you to set any expectations. I just want you to walk till you feel like you've come far enough. And if you don't meet anybody along this meditation right now, that's okay too. But if you do you see somebody walking towards you? I'll share with you what I see right now. And I've never met this person in a meditation before. I know who it is. It's Jesus that's meeting up with me. Maybe you've got an angel. Maybe it's an elemental. Maybe it's an animal. Maybe it's a spirit guide that's an animal. It could be in any form whatsoever. We'll talk about this after. I want to see if anybody did, and if you didn't, that's okay too. But if you do meet somebody, do they have a message for you? And you can ask them that too right now. Do you have a message for me? Once you've heard what the message is, and maybe you haven't, maybe they've written it down. Maybe they've left it, tucked it in a safe space back in your safe space that we've just created. Or maybe you'll find it, like I said, back when we open our eyes, when you're back out in the real world, maybe through a song or numbers you see. Maybe it's a picture you'll see, anything like that. Now we're just having a quick visit with them, but I've asked them if they'll also give you a gift. So in your mind's eye, if you're able to picture yourself, hold out your hand. What have they given you? Maybe you don't know. Maybe you'll have to unwrap it when you get back we're going to get back to our safe space. Or again, you may encounter this out in the real world if it doesn't happen for you right now. So thank them. You can let them know that the next time that you try this, you'll have more time to visit and more time to connect. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn back on the path towards our secret safe space that we've created. I'm going to walk back slowly towards it. If you want to pop back in before we're going to head back up either to the stairs or the elevator, that's okay too. Maybe you want to put a lock on it. Whatever you do, I want you to trust that this is your most safe, secure space, that you go down here, nobody knows you're there, you're able to relax, you're able to clear your mind, you're able to bring any troubles, any anxieties, worries, fears, hurts, even any anger, anything like this. This is a healing, safe space for you. So once maybe you've locked your space up or you've secured it, we're going to keep walking up that path towards whether maybe you've come down the stairs or you've used the elevator. For myself, it's an elevator, so I'm going to hop into the elevator and we're going to start slowly ascending back up to where we started. As we're doing this, I want you to start maybe moving around a little bit as we're ascending. Maybe start wiggling your toes and your arms and your shoulders. The higher we go, the more calmer you feel, relaxed, refreshed. We're at the top now. I'm at the top of the elevator. The doors are opening. You might want to open your eyes now. And again, if you've opened your eyes, I'm going to turn the camera back on. Just give me a minute. This is very quick. And what I'll plan to do is I'll do a much longer one on my YouTube channel for you guys. I have a YouTube channel called The Angel Rock with Lorilei Potvin. I'll do a longer one. Spirit's been nagging me in a very nice, loving way to do this. I've done a few of these before when I was actually on my previous network, but if you have any questions, I'd love to hear them in the chat, or if you feel comfortable sharing your experience. Were you able to meet up with anybody? Were they able to share anything with you? Or maybe their name? What did they look like? Did they leave you a gift? And like I said, if none of these things happened for you, that's okay. All right? Be okay with that. Accept that. Because like I kept mentioning throughout this, that sometimes it'll happen in the real world. Because that's the beautiful thing. Once we start to pay attention to the little things around us, maybe a feather popped up from somewhere that you've never seen a feather before. You have nothing in your house with feathers, but there's a feather. Or maybe coins. A lot of times loved ones leave things like pennies and dimes and nickels. Again, if you're in a different part of the world, it would probably be just, small change. Sometimes we smell things because we use all 5 of our senses all the time. So it could be when, maybe you're smelling something that reminds you of something familiar. Maybe you don't know where it's from, or it could be, a perfume or cologne of maybe a loved one or like a grandmother or anybody like that. Or maybe you're seeing a lot of numbers or symbols, a word or a certain song. Like I said, pay attention. Maybe every time you pick up something, a certain item, especially maybe if it belonged to somebody that you knew, you get a vision of them. Anything like that. Like, for example, to be more specific, and I've shared this before, years ago, this puppy has since passed. She passed away last year, actually, and her name was Miley. And when she was a puppy, I had rugs in my old house, and she peed on the rug, as puppies do. And I took a picture of it because it looks like literally somebody drew the most perfect heart on the rug. If I show people, they'll argue with me that there's no way that was done by a puppy. Long story short, the more I started to pay attention to seeing hearts, and hearts seem to be everywhere. Like, I'm not kidding. I take pictures of them. They're, pick up a cappuccino from somewhere and you open up and in the foam, there's a heart. Or there's a coffee spill on the counter, shape of a heart. Or, I've even found a piece of tape. Nobody's been using tape. That's the shape of a heart. And I've taken it as that those are just signs from my guides that, we're around. We know that when we see the sign, that you'll realize who it's from. So my whole point in sharing that is the more that we start to pay attention, the more that we will get confirmation. And if you're not sure what that is, you have every right and you're able to set that parameter Zach, for you with cigars, I don't know, maybe every time you see a certain symbol on a cigar, you'll know that's from your guides or a loved one or whoever that may be. You can set that up and you don't even have to speak it out loud. You can just think it within the mind's eye, if you will. And spirit, as well as past loved ones, are able to hear that. And they're more than happy to oblige. Believe me, I've heard the strangest stories of non-believers even that have set up even a really strange name that if I hear it 3 times within a week's time, I'll believe that this was, say a guide or an angel or something. And I know of one story that had happened within 24 hours. This person had given a whole week. It was with Archangel Gabriel. And within 24 hours had 3 signs with the name Gabriel, which isn't a really common name. And in the strangest of circumstances, because that's a beautiful way spirit works, as much as you think that you'll be able to understand or figure it all out, and when it does happen, it's like, oh my gosh, I couldn't have figured that out in a million years or thought of it that way. That's the way spirit works. I'm just going to go through our comments here in the YouTube chat as well. So we have from Shady D. Ooh, doing some readings, nice. Am I on the correct path to building my house? Everybody's in the mood to get some readings done, so that's what we'll do now. And again, like I said, if you're comfortable or you feel like sharing how that went for you with that meditation, or if you have any questions about it. Like I said, that was done quite quickly because I just wanted to get you into that space and just get started. So once you have time on your own and, in your own quiet space to do that deep breathing, to get into that space, some people just focus on their breathing, or you can use that slightly crossed eye technique I suggested to you by my friend Augie Nost. Or you may have your own trick that may work for you. But once you get into that relaxed space, practice that. Whether it's an elevator or going down the stairs and getting into your space, create more around it. Really make it your own space. Maybe you've got a couple of spaces you want to create. Sometimes you like going to the beach. Sometimes you like, being in a meadow or a forest or out open on the water. Or maybe you've got a cottage or a camp that you love to go to. Or maybe mountain climbing, something out in nature that's really relaxing, because that seems to be a great space to be able to ground and grid as well as meditate and feel safe out there. So let me just check. Okay, so we had Zach's question first. Zach, are you still here? I think you are, but just in case you're not, I'll just double check. And then before I get started, I'll grab a drink. Now, what I want to tell you, if you're listening, excuse me, and you're not able to type a question, but I'm giving an answer from spirit for somebody else that's asked a question, and the answer that you hear, you think, oh my God, that is so applicable to what I'm going through. Like that is like word for word applicable to what I'm going through. Like this is exactly like this message sounds like it was meant for me. Guess what? It is meant for you. This may also be for somebody who's listening to the archive or the replay, but that's the way spirit works, is they'll know if you're not able to be here, or maybe you're going to hear this on the replay. Maybe they know that you've got a question that you need an answer to. So if you hear something that is applicable to yourself, take it as such. And Zach says he's still here. So like I said, I don't normally need decks when I do like a longer, say like an hour reading or something like that. I may pull a few cards, but most of the stuff we do, it just comes through spirit. But I find when we're doing quicker one question readings that it's just a lot easier to use a card, because you've got something as well to see on screen. And then Shady D, I will get to your question. She also added, I manifest information in the form of a headache on the right side of my forehead. Something is happening. So, you know what? I'm glad that you mentioned that, Shady D, because for you, you know that when you feel that sensation on the right side of your head, that bit of a headache, that's a sign for you. That's a confirmation. If you've ever watched me live, especially if I'm doing readings, you'll hear me say, oh my gosh, I got goosebumps. That's my sign for truth. So I know that when I get goosebumps, and I have no reason for that. It's not cold in here. There's no wind. There's no windows open. It just comes out of nowhere. I know that that's kind of like a sign from spirit. That's the other thing when you're starting to work with spirit. You can set up a dictionary, if you will, with spirit because they want you to be able to hear with them, to connect with them, to be able to hear their guidance. So I know there are people that'll say, every time I see in my mind's eye a red rose, or maybe I run into a red rose out of nowhere, whatever that is, say, for example, they'll say that means love. Or if you show me an umbrella, this means that. Or if I see this, especially because we have five senses, right? That are main, if you will, psychic senses. There's clairaudience, which means to be able to hear, clairvoyance, which means you're able to see, clairsentient, which means, you can pick up things, whether it's a picture or say a necklace that somebody's worn, and you get a lot of information that way through touch. Clairgustinance is taste. So I know a lot of mediums in particular say they're connecting with somebody and they died very tragically, or they were murdered or something, but there was blood, and they'll be able to taste the blood. That's where clairgustinance can come from. I always forget the name for the clair with scent, or to be able to smell, but a lot of times we'll smell things. Or claircognizance. You know something beyond a shadow of a doubt, but you have no idea why you know it. So it's knowledge, if you will. There's even more of the clairs, as they're called for short, but those are usually the ones that are most common. So Zach, I'm going to use for you, I think I've used this before, Angels of Abundance. And I tend to use angel cards. They're positive. I can read tarot. I do have tarot. Never mind that the deck is quite thick for me, so it's kind of hard for me to hold on camera. I'm just going to grab my glasses while we're chit-chatting here. Holy cow, you guys, it's already 10:02. Boy, can I talk, can't I? I can't believe I used to do this 5 nights a week. And mind you, I should say I always used to have my PIC, or partner in crime, Seraphine Hurley. We started doing this almost immediately on the old network. She was on Mondays and Thursdays, so she'd be on my show and then I'd be on her show right after. So, and then between guests and stuff, but there were nights she'd get me like this, and I thought, I don't have a guest for tonight, and yeah, I could have asked one of the boys to join me, and I thought, no, you know what, let's go back to basics. I haven't done this in a long time. So, now you wanted to, I already heard for you, Zach, and I'm just going to tell you what I heard from Spirit about the cigar shop. You should be starting it. Spirit's been giving you every sign. I don't know if this is true or not, but I don't know if they've been making things crappy at your job right now where you're at, that it's kind of a sign that it's like, yeah, I'm not super, and you don't have to answer this, but I'm not super happy with what I'm doing. It's a scary time to start stuff right now with what's going on with the financial, situation. The other thing that they're sharing with me, I'll try not to be too personal because I do know Zach as well, but the situation that you had before that you were in, you weren't the one running the business. You weren't the one that was in charge, even though you were kind of part of that, but it wasn't all yours. Spirit showing me that part of the reason why you went through that experience was, first of all, to give you experience with the business, but also to kind of show you what to do and what not to do. And how I already know, and I'm already hearing, you already knew what you would do if it was just you doing this. But it also gave you sort of a taste from the sidelines, if you will, to see what worked and what didn't work. So as painful as that situation may have been, there's always a reason why we go through what we go through. So yes, and I think you know the area well enough. Including, they want you to consider as well the food aspect. So unfortunately, with the way things are going with COVID, you may have to hang in there a little bit. But as I understand it, and I trust it this way, that yes, we're going through difficult times right now, but it's not going to stay this way forever. And I truly believe that. So it may be later towards the end of 2021 when you finally get the ball rolling. But I think you've been hearing that, yes, for a long, long time. And you're getting a lot of signs about this. And again, the more time that it takes and the more planning and the more effort and the more thought that you put into this, the more that it's kind of all just going to fall into place when it's the right time. So that's what I'm hearing. It's going to be more towards the end of 2021. when, everything kind of settles down, like everything's so up in the air right now. I hope that helps with that. I'm going to pull a card for you though too, Zach. And this, like I said, this is from the Angels of Abundance deck. So this is kind of thing that I think I have another one. I think it's called, if I'm not mistaken, I have it up here. Yeah, Life Purpose, but Spirit wanted me to use this Angels of Abundance deck for you. And then I'll answer your question, Shady D. And I should ask you guys, did you have a good Christmas, everybody? I actually seen I'm just talking while I'm shuffling. I just seen a really beautiful video somebody put up that they weren't able to afford presents this year. There's somebody that was doing some fundraising, but I really love what they did. They talked about how they treat every day as a gift, and every day somebody is special, and that they try to give of themselves and the gifts that they have to everybody the other 364 days of the year. So rather than buying somebody maybe a tie that they won't use, or really jumping into the commercialism, materialism of what Christmas is, that they try to give gifts of the heart 365 days of the year. And I thought that was a really beautiful thing. So, sometimes those are the things. It doesn't have to be a ton of money, but a gift where you thought of somebody that you've made with your own hands, or a random act of kindness, or believing that'll be a big enough gift for yourself, never mind what you do for somebody else. Because, it's a beautiful thing when we give to others. And we don't do it for any other reason than just because, you see somebody in need or whatever that may be. It's such a gift. The same thing as the gift of forgiveness. Somebody that's really, really hurt us. When we say forgiveness, we don't say that we're forgiving what they did. What we're doing is it's almost like we're releasing them. Because when somebody's hurt us really badly or whatever it may be, that requires forgiveness. We're not saying what they did again is okay, but we're releasing, because think about it, when we're really super angry, say somebody's hurt us, or, people might think of revenge or whatever it is, that other person couldn't give a rat's butt about usually how they've hurt someone, especially if they didn't realize they've hurt anybody. And it's almost like it's taking up space in our heads and our minds and our hearts, all that anger, all that frustration, feelings of revenge, whatever it may be. So, and it's not easy to forgive, especially if it's been somebody that's hurt you over and over, or it's been a really huge thing that they did. But when we release it and we forgive them, it frees up that space, if you will. It frees up that negativity that we may be hanging on to in our hearts, our heads, whatever it may be. And then it makes room for something better to come in. Something that'll further benefit you, because it certainly doesn't benefit us to hang on to those lower vibrational things. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with it. I mean, it's when someone's really hurt us, and again, forgiveness can sometimes be a really difficult thing, but just remember that the biggest gift is, it's a gift to yourself. Okay, let me see. We got a card for you here, Zach. Glasses. Did I grab them in my yapping here? Hang on, Zach. Sorry. Zach's seen me do live readings before. I think Shady D has too. If I don't have my glasses on, half the time I can't see. Where are you, glasses? I know you're in here. Oh, this won't help if I have no lenses. Well, I think we might just have to wing it without glasses. I can't find them. So, Zach, the card I pulled for you says, organize for success. Do not let the word organize. I'm actually glad Spirit brought this up, because this kind of came in through the back of my head, because then I told you that kind of put everything all together, and the more time that you spend putting it together, the more it'll fall into place. And I literally heard from Spirit, but that doesn't mean to get really, really focus on organized to the point that that's all we're thinking about. And it's really beautifully expressed in this card. So again, I'll repeat it. It says, organize for success. Do not let the word organize intimidate you, as it is simply a way for you to ensure clarity of your purpose. Organizing your thoughts, your reports, your living and workspace, and your finances will help you know and plan your next action steps. So yes, organization is important. I think that's why Spirit said more towards the end of 2021. And believe me, a year goes by pretty quickly. But when I was talking about not getting overly focused on organization, what I mean by that is to the point that we're looking at every little bit, like every little bit and piece. So again, yes, some of these things that have been mentioned that are important for organization, absolutely. But to not get overly obsessed on the little details. Everything will fall into place if everything's organized that needs to be, sort of some of these bigger steps, if you will. It's a beautiful angel card. Dove of Peace is here. There's a candle with light. And there's a really interesting star. It kind of reminds me of where we are at this junction right now with the planets. I don't know if you can see it or not, Zach. Sorry, I've got my background. I don't know if it'll show it. Let's see if I hold it back. Let me know if that you can see that. So I hope that works for you, Zach, and I hope that gives you a lot of clarification. I can see you doing this. I know I've told you that because I've known Zach quite a long time too, that that when you do it, it'll be done. There's something about food too. You already know this, I'm hearing, but to make sure that you even consider food, it doesn't have to be full meals and stuff like that, but if you're able to swing it or work it out or work out a deal with somebody in the neighborhood, maybe amalgamating the food services that way to make sure that you include that aspect as well. So I hope that helps, hon. And thanks for asking. Shady D said, my Christmas was all about PJs. Yes, well, this is my Christmas sweater. I look like I've gained 100 pounds, but it's actually got, I don't know if you can see that. It's got a reindeer sparkle nose, but the cute part is it's got a reindeer hood. And then I also got, because I just love this little guy, the child. And then, I don't know if you can see him. He looks like he's disappearing on camera. The Mandalorian. I think he's so cute. So you said it consisted of PJs, and then you said, I spent the whole day on the couch watching movies, never left the apartment. Sounds like my idea of Christmas. I never went to bed Christmas Eve because, as you well know, my youngest son, who has severe autism, even though he's 22 and a half, he still believes in Santa. So there I was, still wrapping presents, like I hadn't stopped. And it was by, I think he was up at 6 a.m. And I told him that because of COVID, Santa was super busy. So he dropped the presents off, unwrapped, and asked if Mommy could wrap them. He'd have to wait. And then the Dell has his chef's papers. So he did the cooking because we had his mom for dinner. And I did the cleaning and everything else. So it was a busy, busy Christmas. Where are we here? Speaking of giving, there are a lot of groups on Facebook called Buy Nothing, and they are focused community you live in. I've seen my group create Christmas for two families. That's absolutely beautiful. I'm going to share a story with you. I haven't shared it, and I'm not sharing it because I think I'm so great or that I want any props for it, because I don't. This actually happened. I didn't tell anybody about it I didn't even tell Dell about it for about 4 or 5 days after it happened, but I was out doing some last minute Christmas shopping, and I was waiting for one of my paychecks to come in. And every now and then I'll buy a lottery ticket. And if I win something, I kind of just tuck it away because I only get paid once a month. So usually by the end of the month, sometimes waiting for a paycheck, I need some cash. And I wasn't going to cash it in. And I thought, yeah, I think I will. So I went to this particular store, and there was a massive lineup inside. And there was somebody that looked like they were in line. And I said, are you in line? And they said, no, go ahead of me. And I was at the end of the line. As I was paying for my stuff and about to walk out, this gentleman who had said he wasn't in line said, do you know if there's a bus that goes by here? And I said, well, I'm not really familiar with the bus schedules, but if you go to blah, 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 you'll be able to find it. And he said, no. I'm sorry, honey, I'm still live. Okay, excuse me, he's all done. Did you need something? I just wanted to say hi. Oh, hello. My son wanted to say hello, everybody. Anyways, he said, I'm not from the city. And I said, oh, okay. And I said, well, were you looking for a local bus? And he said, no, actually, I was looking for something like a Greyhound bus. And I said, oh, do you want me to look up the phone number? And at first he had said, well, no, I can't call anybody because my phone is dead. And I said, well, here, I'll help you. So we were still in the store and we tried to call and nobody would answer. And we figured because it was COVID that there was, they probably weren't even open. So as I started talking to him, He had come from Calgary, and I live in a city called Thunder Bay. Calgary by car is probably about 2.5 days away. Like it's out west from where I live in Canada. And he said he had gotten into a car accident probably about 2.5, 3 hours outside of the city, and his car was totaled. And thankfully, somebody had stopped and given him a ride to our city. But he was trying to get to Montreal, and Montreal is out east from where I live. Again, probably at least 2 or 3 days drive straight. So he didn't know what he was going to do. And I said, well, you're actually in a good place. I said, because you're very close to where a lot of truckers go by. There's a highway junction. And he didn't even know where I was explaining where he could go. And I said, well, I don't mind giving you a ride. So as he got in the car, I said, have you even eaten? And he hadn't. And I said, I'm really sorry. I don't have a lot of money. I said, but there's McDonald's or there's Wendy's. And he said, well, either or Wendy's. He said, and I figured that's probably what he felt like. So I ended up picking up just a little bit of food. And then I ended up driving him to one of our Walmarts, which was very close because it was very close to the highway. But the reason why I did that and explained this to him, that all the truckers that deliver stuff or are driving from the West Coast to the East or down to Southern Ontario all park at this one Walmart. And actually, it's sad because none of us would get our supplies if it weren't for truckers. And thank God. And I know that the owners of this mall give them a hard time parking there overnight. They've got to rest somewhere. So, anyways, I dropped him off and wished him Merry Christmas. And I thought about him. I really hope because he was trying to get home to his son for Christmas. He'd been really, really sick. The reason why he had said his phone had died, he had actually sold his phone, sold his computer, sold everything because he'd been really, really sick. And I don't know if it was something terminal or what it was, but I mean, he hadn't seen his 12-year-old son in 5 years. So if he's hopefully he's still not traveling, I've been thinking about him, but if you can and you're listening out there, please send him some prayers or some good energy because I told him, I said, I think he'll get there. And I hope that he does. But the reason why I shared that is, I didn't know this person from a hole in the ground. And the only reason I did it was because somebody that he really needed the help. And you know what? I've been in a situation where I've really needed help. I know a lot of people have. So again, that's one of the most powerful, amazing gifts you can give is just a random act of kindness or, do something somebody just because, or like Shady D mentioned some of these groups on Facebook that I'm going to read the title again. She said, it said, buy nothing, but she said a group organized, she's in a bigger area in Canada here. And it's not just in Canada, I believe it's probably all over the world because I've heard of this before, but they were able to give 2 families a beautiful Christmas that weren't able to. So if you're ever able to do that, I hope that you're able to do that because like I said, it'll be such a big gift to yourself. It really, really will. And then you'll actually be able to help somebody else out too. Shady D said, I've done a lot of live readings. Personal readings are so filled with energy. That's true. And then Shady D said, I love it, Baby Yoda. Yes, the child. And Zachman said, it brings me a lot of clarity. Thank you for the reading, Lorilei. You always help me find the answers I'm looking for. Oh, Zach, thank you so much. But I kept hearing from Spirit, you already know. You already know. You just needed to hear this. So not that I have all the answers. I don't mean that, but just sort of a little bit more, if you will, encouragement. Because I think you already know. You're pretty intuitive yourself. And Shady D said it's all across Canada as far as I know. I know, but I do know that, Shady D, about the Buy Nothing, but I think somebody sent me an invite to one actually in the US too. So I think it's starting to catch on and I hope it does. So a lot of people out there, that are worried with their businesses, small businesses, people, that haven't been able to get paid and having to pay rent but don't have the money. Like I said, there's a lot of people out there that are going to need a lot of help. So if you're in a position to help in any way and you run into somebody that needs it, I hope you can find it in your heart to do that. And even if you can't, maybe you know of somebody that you can connect them with even. Sometimes even just that will help. So Shady D's question was, I'm going back here. Am I on the correct path to building my house? It's always harder for me to do reading for somebody I know, so I'm just going to feel into that for a minute. I don't know if you're planning on building somewhere away from the city, like somewhere, I keep getting shown water, like something really peaceful, a beach. I don't know if that's what you're looking at or not, but that's what they're showing me. I'm just trying to feel into this. All I keep hearing from Spirit is to relax. Like they're showing me a lot of, I don't want to say resistance because I know you're open to it, but a lot of concern, a lot of worry, a lot of bit of, concern with the little details. Then they're just showing me you putting up that picture of what you want, what you desire, and then leaving it up to the universe and spirit. So again, not getting hung up on the little details, but focusing on the big picture. That's exactly what they just gave me. That's why they showed me the picture. So focusing on the big picture. I know that you're also part of the mastermind, so even utilizing that resource, if it's possible for everybody to focus their intention for you to help you manifest the big picture, if you will. I'm going to pull another card for you too. So give me a sec here. What do you want me to use here, Spirit? You do you? Okay. Ugh. They want me. I don't know if I've ever used this on this channel. This is called Magical Dimensions. So this is a really cool deck. Inside, it's got a symbol which keeps the cards imbued with your energy as well as clear. So it's almost like a Reiki symbol. But the beautiful thing about this card is it gives a crystal, it will give a color of ray of light to work with, as well as it gives a celestial interpretation, which means a little bit more woo-woo, if you will, a little bit more, yeah, that's the best way I can say it, I guess. And then they give an oracle interpretation, which is practical everyday use. They also give an essential oil too. So give me a chance or a second here and we'll pull that for you. Water does resonate. Okay. Yeah, because that's what they're showing me. Like when I don't want to say beach, but like it, yeah, but not like your typical beach. I don't know. Water's definitely there, but not a lot of houses around. Really peaceful. You can make it happen, is what they're saying, but to focus on the big picture, not the small details. Again, kind of something that I shared earlier, that you can try and figure it out a million ways to Sunday. And then when it happens and then you see the path to the way it happened, it's like, oh my gosh, I couldn't have thought of that in a million years. And when I say I'm talking about the global I for all of us. So I'm just shuffling away here. So if there's anybody else listening and you're wondering how you can get in on getting a one-card reading with myself, please head over to United Public Radio Network's YouTube channel while we're live, which is Monday night, December 28th. So if you're hearing this afterwards, we won't be live, obviously. You can always get a hold of me on my my Facebook page, which is The Angel Rock. It's facebook.com, The Angel Rock. You can see how to book a reading with me. I also have 2 groups on Facebook while I'm shuffling, so I can let you know. One is called Paranormal University for all things within the paranormal realm. And then the Angel Rocker Tribe is more kind of what we're talking about tonight. Sometimes we do some free teaching, free sessions. We need to put the second part up. We actually, and Shady D was part of this, we taught people how to make their own dowsing rods. And then the second part, which we need to get going, just my partner in crime and who does a lot of this with me, Seraphine Hurley, she's just been a little bit out of commission for a little while. She's just starting to get back on her feet. So we will start doing that, but we're going to teach you guys how to connect with your spirit guides. So you can get the answers. Like you wouldn't need to come to someone like me or, to cards. You'll be able to do this yourself. We'll teach you how to protect yourself. I still need to upload, now that I'm telling you this and remembering it, the video on how to make your own dowsing rods. It's pretty simple. And then we'll teach you how to connect with your guide. And this is actually from a psychic, Jamie Butler, where I got a little bit of the idea from, because she works closely with two of her guides, Maitland, and she actually channels Maitland or Grace. And Grace is this very stately, sort of elderly, quiet woman from the UK, one of her guides, very wise. And Jamie, by the way, she's from Atlanta. She doesn't speak with a UK accent, but Grace does. And Maitland is a 6-year-old girl and acts accordingly. And the really cool part is that Jamie was actually able to trace who she was because she got Maitland's last name. And Maitland was actually born in Chicago in the either late 1920s or early 1930s. And she actually passed away when she was 8 years old. And she's chosen in spirit to maintain how she appears and how she acts as a 6-year-old child. So I believe her channel is called The Lighter Side on YouTube. And she was doing something to this effect, not quite the way we did it, because I never copy someone. I might use something for inspiration and always give credit where it's due. But she was actually able to show where Maitland was in the room and how tall Maitland was. And it was really cool. So we kind of wanted to do something along that line, not with Maitland. That's Jamie's main guide, but teach you how to connect with your own guide and find out what their name is and whether they're in the room with you and all kinds of things. Okay, I've done enough shuffling here. Sorry, Linda. I'm calling you by your first name. I'm sorry, Shady D. You should remember that. Alrighty. I'm going to have to use the book for this because it's pretty long. I think it's appropriate though, Shady D. The card I pulled for you is Utopia. Peace, serenity, and paradise. Now, how more applicable could we get when you're asking, am I on the right track towards building my house? This is the card. My background keeps erasing it. I hope you can see it. I'll try and back up. If you can't see it well enough, I can send it to you later. But I'm going to read this. Like, I think if there's anything more appropriate, it's actually this beautiful white, almost like a castle with a turret on each side, and it's got a royal blue triangle, then a half circle, then another half circle on the turrets. It's got, looks like a dolphin. Oh, actually, they're orcas. They're orcas jumping in the front, and there's some crystals. Looks like there may be a fairy on the side here. I thought it was a mermaid, but I think it's a fairy. And then over top of the house, there is, almost looks like a faceted quartz, almost like a Vogel crystal, and it's in a double infinity sign, if you will. Really cool. So if you couldn't see it well enough on the screen, remind me and I'll send you a screenshot of it. Okay, we gotta look up Utopia. And of course, this book is not in alphabetical order. This always makes it more difficult when it's not. Utopia, there we go. Page 70. And I just gotta find, when I read it to you, you'll understand why I needed the book, because it gives quite a bit of information in here. You said I can? No, I can't see it. Oh my God, so perfect. Yeah, remind me after I put it out and I'll take a picture of it. Same for you, Zach, if you really, if you couldn't see it well enough. I'll have to remember what deck I used. So Shady D for you, for Utopia. It's number 43 in the book. And again, I'll repeat, it says peace, serenity, and paradise. And it says image is connected with the burgundy azure color ray. And I've never gotten burgundy before. So that'll be a significant color to work with, like energetically, to help you manifest this into being. And then it says, okay, so for the celestial interpretation, that's the one that's a little bit more woo-woo, if you will. You understand what woo-woo means for those of you listening when you hear it. It says, Utopia resonates to that of soul bliss. This sacred ray, meaning the burgundy azure or azure color ray, is attuned to frequencies of harmony and healing. It transports the soul to otherworldly dimensions that intensely appeal to the soul's core. It blends all elements of ether, air, fire, water, ice, and earth together in a cohesive world of unlimited serenity. This expansive ray profoundly affects the soul's nostalgia to be transported to an unlimited paradise of perfect light and love. And I think this is so far turning out to be a really perfect card, considering we're asking about your future home and are you on the right path to building it. Now, the oracle interpretation is a little bit more down to earth. Give yourself a reprieve from chaos. Have you been experiencing a whirlwind of three-dimensional living? Now it's time to slow down and experience peace. You may be fondly recalling a past serene dimensional lifetime and be desiring to return to this place. The urge to travel or an opportunity for this may soon surface. A search for relocation to a more satisfying geographical location may be in order. Now, if that's not your answer, and just so people know and listening to this, I was talking the whole time I was shuffling. I did not pick this card out of this deck. And this is not about moving this deck at all. This is one of the reasons why I like to use cards when I do a one question reading, because how more perfectly could these, well, both of them too, but especially this pertaining to asking about moving to the house, or the house that she's building. And then the companion crystal, there's two. You can work with coral or azurite to help manifest this. And then there's a companion essential oil, marjoram. That's an interesting one. You don't usually get that. So that's a pretty cool reading, because like I said, the fact that it mentioned about moving is in order. I mean, I don't think we could get a better answer, could we? I'm just going to read your comments. You said, oh, sorry, I thought you said I can see it. You said I can't see it, meaning the card. And then burgundy is a resonant color as well. I'm glad to hear that. I'm really glad to hear that. So while we're sitting here, we've got just less than half an hour. I want to ask you guys, what do you guys think the new year's going to bring? What do you think? Do you set resolutions? Are you setting any? Where do you think things are going to go? Even in the way we've got a lot, the whole world's watching right now. Not that we just went from this big high vibe of reading here, unless we've got anybody else in the chat that shows up that would like a reading. If not, but I'd love to know, what are your thoughts? And what do you think we can do about it? Because my thoughts are, and even though, it's kind of odd for me to focus on things like politics and so-called conspiracy theory, I prefer truth-seeking. I love that my friend Dan Willis, who's been on my show quite a bit, he's just been taking a break, and he's also an empath, as I believe most people who are aware of their gifts, or are psychics and mediums or healers, are empathic. He always says, I choose to observe it, not absorb it. And that's kind of what I choose to do, looking at these situations and kind of the truths that we're unearthing with the information that I hear a lot of it, because the Dell does a show, The Delicious Recipe, just before mine, which is it's supposed to be about conspiracy theory. I tend to like to call it truth seeking. But again, he never tells you what to think. He presents the facts, and then he leaves it up to you to either further the trail yourself, to seek out the facts for yourself, or to fact check, see what you find for yourself. Don't always trust what somebody else says. And it's not in the matter of being suspicious. It's in a matter of finding your own truth, of opening your own doorway, if you will. So I'd love to know what your thoughts are. Where do you think things are going to go? Do you think that it's possible to focus on what you want, not focusing on what you don't want, but what you do want, to bring it into fruition, to help it manifest? And if there's enough of us that did this, I think that this could happen. I think this is basically what I mentioned earlier about Augie Noss and Nori Love's. They have the mastermind connection, and they do this every Sunday. A lot of times they have presentations as well throughout the week, and they talk about collectively, when there's more than one mind, when there's two, as Augie's been explaining it, you almost create a third mind, the mastermind, when you're all focusing on, the same thoughts or the same energy. So whether that's abundance, or I know that, there's a 2 hours usually on Sundays. At the last hour, there's been some connection with the Pleiadians, which are believed to be extraterrestrial. I believe they are. A lot of people who are hearing that, I think it's, but I always say to people, imagine if you opened your mind to the possibilities, just because you haven't heard of it or you don't believe in it, but just being open to seeing what happens if you, instead of saying, no, it's not possible, but just being neutral about it, just to see what would happen, what you might experience. I'm going to read the comments here. Zachman says, I've been observing more, I've been observing more than absorbing lately. When I get really deep into the political climate, it makes me sick. It does too, and there's points, Zach, where I feel really angry, and then I have to remind myself, and I'm not perfect, nobody is. Yeah, it does make me sick. It makes me angry. It really does, because in a way, it kind of makes you feel really small, right? Like really powerless. Like, well, what can we do? And I've been running into a lot of people, especially where we live, because we're not having an election right now, or the issues that have been going on in the US. The whole world is watching. But I've been finding a lot of my fellow Canadians have no clue what's going on, like really none whatsoever. I think it's called the Liberty Network, where it's a bunch of fellow Canadians. I believe all people from all over the world can join. And it's about talking about some of these topics. And I actually had somebody send me a message from a place called Long Lac. Long Lac is so small. It's about 3 hours away. I think we'd be lucky if there was 1,000 people in that city, a town, not even a city. And the person had said, I guess they had seen my profile and how nice it was to connect with somebody that was fairly open-minded, and because they weren't finding that where they lived. And I said, well, it's not much different where I live, and we have a city of over 100,000 people. And I've even talked with people from bigger places, because I think unless something happens that resonates with a person, to draw their attention to look further than what's right before their eyes, that we never look. Or, you get so busy, and then you have time maybe to watch, the nightly news. I mean, it used to say news you can trust, but we found that there's a lot of untruths, right? So where do you look? Like, you almost have to look at independent news sources out there, and then you've got to go with what resonates with you and what doesn't, right? But there's so many people, and then I try to be objective with the fact, like, people believing that things like Pizzagate or adrenochrome or SRA, or there's something called the Red Shoe Gang. There's all kinds of things like that, that, people just can't even fathom that that might actually exist, or that kind of stuff is going on. And then I have to stop and take a breath and think, I could understand why, because inherently, yes, not everybody's good. Not everybody's always an angel. But, I like to think that the majority of people that at least I've met have some good to them, if not a lot of good to them. So to imagine that level of evil and depravity, it's just too much to wrap your mind around it. But the thing is, right, and we need to remember this, that one person can make a difference. And no, we're not powerless. And it's how we choose to use our voice or our energy. And that doesn't mean, getting into every dogfight. And I'm not saying, pointing a finger at anybody, but getting into every dogfight and fighting with people over words or what your beliefs are or what. But there are certain places, and people will inherently know what that place is, individual to themselves, where they can use their voice for good.
Okay, that's really weird. Lorilei froze. Can y'all hear me in the chat?
And
Oh, we got you back. There you are.
I've been here. I was while I was calling you, I could hear you.
Yeah, you were froze with this like weird view on your. I don't know. It was weird looking. Anyway, you're
Isn't
back.
that
So.
funny? When I was trying to encourage people to do their own research, and and isn't that surprising? My back. Hello.
Yeah, you back. You froze for a second again, but you back. That
You
was
know what I'm
weird.
gonna do, Joe? I'm gonna plug in my
There you go. You froze again. That's weird.
Wi-Fi connector, but that too.
You make sure it's nothing on my end. That's just weirdness. Let's see. Hello, chat people. The P word, huh? The P word. The power of the. Yeah, since I'm not supposed to be on the radio. Da-da-da-da-da. Weirdness abounds on live radio. I would sing to y'all if I could sing, but y'all would run for cover. All you peeps would run for cover. Y'd be like, oh my God, please shut up. Let's see. I told you no. I don't know where she went, y'all. It's kind of like she's been taken by the Palladians or something.
I'm here. I'm gonna ask. Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, I got you now. See the play. As soon as I
Now
said
you hear
Palladian, she
me?
came back. Y'all seen that? Wham!
I can hear everything you were saying.
You're just, it's weird because I can see this computer over here and it's moving fine, but over here for some reason you just like freezing off and you wasn't doing it a minute ago. I just started doing it.
I
Okay.
just turned on my Wi-Fi extender, but even that's not working properly.
You
Isn't that
seem like you're
weird?
fine now. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. You seem okay now, so I'm gonna shut
You
up.
know why? Because I was talking about that wonderful PIZZA, and I think that's what did it.
And
I don't.
this weirdness is abounding out there, that's for sure. But
It's
it
abounding.
starts spreading the news.
Yeah, start spreading the news. No, because well, actually, I was
That sounds like a
thinking,
song to me. I see. I want to break out into a song seeing it. That's why I gotta
yeah,
shut up. I did. What the hell? Okay.
yeah. Oh, 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 I, I, I just
Okay. I'm not even gonna say what that looks like. Oh no, that's wrong on so many levels.
frozen watching myself. I'm not frozen. Am I? Oh,
Uh, yeah, you're
I
freezing just for like it's weird the way you're
I
doing
looked
it.
possessed on the screen. Is that what you're gonna say? Because I did. I
No,
just
not
seen
just
it.
now. Not just now. Just now, it looked like a shot from like a. Anyway, you should watch it yourself. That's all I can say.
I am watching it. I seen it. So it looked like I was a
I don't know
member
what
of.
happened. And when we start talking, it seems to work fine. I don't know what it is. It's weird, but I can see you on both screens. So I know this screen's playing nonstop, so it's not on my end because I can see it playing. But over here where we're live, every now and then it glitches. It just freezes you or
It
something.
just
But see, it's
cut
not
me
doing it
right
as much
off.
now. Now it seems to kind of quit.
Yeah, I just
Looks like you got your head chopped off there for a minute. Yes, yes. I mean, we can't be saying we don't want to scare the regular listeners off. All the ones that are listening
our
to this.
regular listeners. We had some really cool readings, and I was talking about. I won't repeat it, but I was talking about how one person can make a difference, and to just, do your own research out there, and that would be that. I won't say too much more because we don't need them to cut me off again. So that was that. So we were talking about New Year's resolutions, though, and I didn't hear, I think, I'm trying to read Shady D. I was seeing Kazakh he was talking about if he looks at the climate that's out there, it makes him sick. That's why we got on that topic about being more positive. And JD said this will come to an end. We cannot make it go away, but we can make it lighter. But could we really make it go away? Could we? And then we go back to Shady D, our friend Augie Nost, and him referring to, and I've listened to that show with Art Bell, that when there was no rain in Texas, right? And how many listeners did he have on that night? Over 10,000? Might have been 100,000. There was no rain forecast for Texas. There were forest fires. I think the cattle were dying. Like, they were in desperate need of rain, and there was none forecast in sight. And so I believe he used his show, and he had everybody focus for 30 seconds on rain over Texas. And the next day, there were like torrents of rain, torrential rain the next day. And the weather people were absolutely baffled by what had happened. And that was, as he put it, and I believe that, reaching into the conscious quantum energy field, if you will, and everybody putting out the same thought, and they manifested rain. So imagine if we all just agreed to disagree and started focusing on what we would all, because I think we all want the same things, regardless, like the same things. Everybody, a roof over your head, some food to eat, everybody safe and happy and comfortable. And worry about the big things later. But if we all focused on the main thing, and I'm not telling people what they have to think, I'm just using it as an example. We all focused on the same things. Imagine what could happen. Just imagine. Shady D said, I think I sent you the one with the Hopi grandfather and grandmother that was sent to me. Yeah, you did. I didn't have a chance to listen to it yet, but it could be it might be a little bit different story. I just think it's a really cool example. I remember when there was a really bad storm, the one did hit Joe this year, unfortunately, his place. But I remember, I think it was last year, the year before, it was supposed to be a Category 5 hitting Florida. And I remember Augie had everybody on Jason Bland's show, Paranormal Soup, do the same thing. Now, were we responsible for it veering and dying down so it didn't make a landfall? No, not just us, because there was many, many thousands of other people around the world doing the same thing. So just imagine if we could globally as a population, how cool that would be, what we could manifest if we all focused on the same things, right? Shady D says in the chat again, what they said was that this reset is needed and it's not going to be an easy transition. But if we spread the light, we can soften everything. See, I guess that's your belief system, right? And again, I don't know. Again, I think the only question I think that we have to ask ourselves, honestly, is who does it benefit, right? And I've always been told, and I used to wonder why, was follow the money. And it's like, why would you say that, follow the money? But again, it's a great start. So if we're being told this by the higher ups, that this is needed and it has to happen this way, who does it benefit, right? And you see what we've gone through already versus the higher ups who went without money, who went without with the necessities of life. That didn't happen to every human being on this planet, right? So again, not trying to stir up controversy, but just being truthful. I think that's the first question we have to ask is, if they believe it's needed, who does it benefit? Does it benefit humanity? Or does it benefit the people that are saying that it's needed? Right? Something to think about, definitely. I hear you, Shady, and I wasn't trying to point a finger at you. I know you had said I was part of that with you, and it's a matter of easing things up. I agree. But I guess I just thought I'd put that out there. That just came to me. I think it's a good question to ask. And that's anything in life, especially if you've got somebody that's got a lot more power than you do and telling you that there's something that must be done or it has to happen. Good question is why? But even deeper so, and you can do this ourselves to take a good look at research or, being creative with where we're looking for the answers rather than just, where the masses always go, is looking at who would it benefit. hmm I think you'll get a lot of answers there, right there. Who does it benefit? So I could be wrong, but I think that's a really good place to start. And that's anything in life. When it comes from management at your job or it comes from anywhere else, I think we have the right to ask why. I do. And then I don't care what anybody says. We all have intuition, whether you want to call it, I trust my gut. Um, I've seen jokes with people saying my lucky trigger finger itches when I know I'm on the right track, whatever that may be. But trusting your gut, what feels right to you, what feels true, what resonates with you. And then if it does, it's always a good thing to go once you get an answer to question it and dig even deeper. I even do that with the Akashic records. I work with something called the Masters, Teachers, and Loved Ones in the in the Akashic records. And when I ask a question, and my mentor was the one that taught me this, and I'm glad she has, to follow it up with 3 or 4 or 5 more questions, not asking the same question, but basically digging deeper and deeper and deeper to get more and more information, right? But that's kind of how it should be, I think, with anything in life. And then to trust your gut. Does it feel right? Does it feel true? Does it work with your values and ethics? And, like for myself, I'm not saying anybody else has to feel this way. When I ask who does it benefit, to me, it should be benefiting the people. It should be benefiting everybody. Again, am I looking at a utopian existence? Maybe. But again, what's wrong with holding that vision that maybe one day, and if enough of us hold that vision, that it actually can become a reality? Well, I hate to do this to you guys. I'm so sorry that I froze up. I'll know better. I'll just have to spell things, I guess. I want to thank you guys all for being here. I want to thank you for the whole year of supporting UPRN, for supporting my shows, for being here, for being such great listeners and people that attend live. I really appreciate it. People that listen to the archives. Just know that you can find everyone's shows here on UPRN anywhere where talk radio and podcasts are carried. I'm going to be working with Joe sometime in the new year about uploading a lot of our archived episodes of shows to, I believe, Rumble. There's a couple other places, so that will be even further spread out, so more and more listeners can listen to the great content that we've always had for years here on United Public Radio. I also want to remind you, if you'd like to book a reading with me or get a hold of me or maybe find more out about, I talked a little bit about Crystal Reiki or the Akashic Records. You can get a hold of me on facebook.com/the Angel Rock. Again, 2 groups on Facebook, Paranormal University or the Angel Rocker Tribe. I would love to have you join. Just have to answer a few quick questions and be happy to have you join us. I also want to, I think we'll be back. I haven't talked to my partner in crime, Seraphine Hurley. I hope so. Anyways, I'm planning on being here tomorrow night from 9 to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Tripping the Void. If for some reason I'm not, we may go live. I don't know. We've been talking about that if we do have an opening with some of us hosts with Joe. Either way, I want to wish you all nothing but the absolute best in 2021 and Happy New Year. And we look forward to bringing you much more wonderful content, guests, and shows here on United Public Radio Network. I send you all so much love and light. Have a beautiful rest of your day, evening, or afternoon, wherever you may be. And see you tomorrow night. Are you there, Joe? Joe. I know I'm still sitting here waiting for him. I thought if I was quiet, he'd get the hint. Joe, we're done. I might have to text him. Pappy went to get that cheeseburger. We were teasing him about that on the last show. I'll text him right now. All done. Uh-oh. Just closed YouTube by accident, guys. Sorry, hang on. I'll have to grab that. Joe. He's disappeared on us, guys.